Hello, hello. Good morning. It's morning for me. It's morning for me. Good morning. I am so thrilled to be to share with you the reading of my chapter from this co-authored book that I was a part of last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago now. I'm gonna give a tag so that I can let people know that I'm on here. When you are on here, let me know. Let me know. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Let's see. There we go. Yes. Right. So, yes. This book, this journey with writing a chapter for this book that ended up being coming out and being published right before COVID hit, like basically as COVID hit, it came out, which was so interesting because, you know, there's this journey of momentum to create this body of work and then get it out to the world in a time where everything was just in, this upheaval of kind of what is going on right now, right? The beginning of something that we had no idea how long it was going to last or how it would ripple out. Um, but to create a book around, the book is called Her Unraveling. So to have this book coming out at a time where you could not really share it widespread, although the sharing of it amidst our peers was so powerful. So this again is a co-authored book. So it's a group of women that were gathered that submitted chapters and topics around the topic of really embracing our emotions, embracing the power that we have to feel as women and our intuition and a woman's story to getting to that point or experiencing being a big feeler or having a big, a strong intuition in the world that we live in now, right? Which hasn't been up until recently as supportive of feminine feeling. And that's changing somewhat amidst probably many of our, the environments that we place ourselves in. But it's still so latent with, you're too much if you feel too much, right? You're too much if you're too sensitive. You are irrational if you're emotional. All of the things that we've been weighted as women in really suppressing this deeply powerful part of who we are as women, our emotions, our feelings, our intuition. And so, this book is really about a gathering of stories of women sharing this. And the journey of writing my chapter was a very powerful process of coming into, 4 or 5 pages of my journey with this. So the reflection of it really allowing me to be very sorry, my daughter just walked in, I got distracted. Be very concrete and distilling and reflective of myself, of what were the like primary nodes, the touchstones, if you would, the breadcrumbs, right, of my journey that brought me to where I am. So as I'm reading it, or if you're watching the replay, feel free to drop any questions. We can talk about them at the end, or anything that you feel resonant with, right? I'm also reading this so that when we share our stories, we come out of a hiding, we come out of a shame, we experience this sense of belonging. And I find such power in that for us as women when we share our stories, especially the ones that are more taboo, right? And that is very passionate about invoking and holding conversations around things that are usually hidden. So this is also one of those. So if you're moved in any way and you feel the desire, I'd love for you to comment and share how it is that you are feeling reflected or inspired or moved by the story that's being shared. Yeah, so I'm just going to read it. I'm going to read this chapter. I am kind of nervous about it. It's funny, but I'm here to reveal. That's my theme this month. It's revealing. So if you are with me, I see that there's a couple people here. If you feel inspired to say hello, I would love that, just to know who is here. Let me know you're here if you're watching the replay. Let me know that you're watching. And I'm here to share as much as I am here to be witnessed. So, here is the book, Her Unraveling. And I love the cover. Such a liberating leap into the air of just being fully expressed. Oh, hi, Patty. My love, my sister. You will recognize me through all of these bits. Sister of a long time. So, find my chapter. All right, so Her Unraveling, a guide to understanding the power of your emotions and how to align with your intuition. The female revolution starts within our bodies, in remembering the wisdom of our wombs, and the deeper mystery of a wild and magical intelligence that lives within us. So I invite you, as you're listening to this, just to close your eyes. If you feel safe doing that. Really just allow these words to come into your body and your being and move you in the ways that they need to. When we really allow ourselves to be present, to connect with our bodies, our breath, our hearts, we feel. When we allow ourselves the wisdom of feeling, we experience a different depth of presence. We enter the unknown, the uncontrolled. We are raw, vulnerable, sensual, fierce, and tender. We cry, we break, we elate, we heal and crack open again and again to continue to feel ourselves alive. Being a feeling woman is beautifully wild. This raw territory is held by the wisdom of the wild feminine. Instinctual, embodied, aching, radiating life. She is an aspect of the true nature of who we are as women. She lives buried within each of us, in our naked truth and expression. She resides within our bodies and the deep wisdom of our flesh, our cycles, our blood, our emotions and intuitions. We have been separated from our bodies and our emotions because they are powerful. We have been taught to doubt our knowing, hide our feelings, disconnect from what we know as our ground of being, our wild, instinctual, and raw self, because it is powerful. It is time now we change this. We know it. Our souls call for a more meaningful connection to ourselves and our lives. The wild feminine has been shamed and silenced for a long time. She is calling for us now, speaking through your longings, your life questions and dreams, calling you to return to the holy ground of your feminine. It is not easy. It's not comfortable. It can be messy and overwhelming. But there is no other way in. But there is no other way through but in. And there are tools to guide us through the dark. How do we feel in this world that teaches us to deny our feelings? How do we not become overwhelmed by feeling once we begin to open? How can we be strong and sensitive and find success in this masculine culture of the mind? These are questions I have pondered, lived, and struggled with in my life. The emerging feminine process is one that I am called to be a part of. The tears and fears shed, the real words, the vulnerability, the anger recognized and released. It shows me that I am not alone. It gives me hope for our future. Through this awakening, we are reclaiming and recreating what it means to be a woman. We are rising together, holding each other, and what is uniquely ours. Our bodies, sovereign, untamed, fierce, and feeling. It is an incredible time to be a woman. I have always been deeply sensitive. I feel my way through life. I am an explorer of the soul. I am emotionally raw and deep. I am creative and unfiltered. For as long as I can remember, I have felt like I did not fit in. I tried hiding my true self to be accepted and loved. But I always felt like I was too sensitive, too weird, too different, no matter how much I tried. Numbing myself with alcohol and drugs at an early age, engaging in sex way too young to feel loved. I always felt like an outsider, trying to fit myself into something that I wasn't trying to fit myself into something that I wasn't, trying to be someone else. You feel me? Can you relate? In college, the world opened up to me in a new way. In that expanding and disorienting time of my early 20s, I was exposed to the empowered archetypes of the sacred feminine. I felt a calling back to a world I somehow felt I had known, one that I had been secretly longing for. I dove deep into researching ancient goddess cultures, fascinated by an entirely different way of being in the world. One that was infused with art, and ritual, where communities lived with the rhythms of nature and the cycles of the moon, honoring the mystery and power of the feminine within life and death. I felt a stirring within me, as if some door had been opened. It was a way of life that my soul understood. It fueled my hunger for a different way. This deeply changed me. I found a missing piece of myself there. I felt known and comforted by something I didn't even know that I ached for. I went to women's circles, bonding with women who were deep like me. Here I began to feel a sense of belonging for the first time in a very long time. I felt seen and valued for my feminine wisdom. It felt like I had found a home. But the bigger world around me was a structure that I still did not find myself in. The world that I was expected to go out and make a living and have a career did not provide me with a place to land. I could not see myself in the frameworks that were set out for me. It was scary and deeply isolating. Wanting to live a life of meaning, I felt outcasted, not able to find my vocation, which is really your voice, my voice in the culture that was surrounding me. On a soul level, I felt like I didn't belong. And as I graduated from college and entered into this greater world without this place to land, it felt so deeply scary. And I felt so alone. And then, after I graduated from college, the fates led me to a very small island where I could live in the forest with the earth's embrace. I disappeared into the wild rather than trying to prove myself again within a world where I knew I didn't belong. I honestly think that it saved my life. It allowed me to sink deeper into the woman within myself that I could not turn away from. And still, as time and life progressed, and I felt the soul ache for more purpose and action in the world, the inner conflict persisted. What am I doing here? How do I fit in? How do I serve? I was able to be myself within the safety of my community. But as I began to seek myself in a bigger purpose of service, I did not see where I belonged. I felt alone and invisible. I was afraid of sharing who I was. I hid myself in the deepest of caverns. I shrank back my gifts in fear, unable to offer them out into the light. I experienced a deep descent of my soul and became depressed for a very long time. When we hide our true gifts, the unexpressed parts of ourselves become shadows and begin to consume us. Like Persephone, the Greek goddess of the underworld, I was taken down into the depths of darkness and despair to find my own light and declare myself as queen. Healing the wounds embracing my womb. As I reflect on that time in my life, I understand why it was challenging for me. I am a strong, feminine woman, and the world that I had been expected to fit into was/is extremely masculine. I feel a lot. Living in my senses, my intuition, presence, and inner knowing. I honor being over doing. I follow pleasure and inspiration. I prefer soaking in the moments over reaching for goals, booking my calendar, and checking things off the list. I was a voluptuous circle, trying to fit into a square, and I did not fit in. So, what was missing? Thank you, Ariel. Thank you. So, what was missing? What is missing for us now? And how do we create something new for ourselves as women? Women's wisdom was missing. The power of our wilderness embodied. The mystery and fluidity of presence and feminine power. The connection to and guidance system within our feeling. This is an integral part of the intelligence we bring to the balance of this world. One that has been lost from the overconsumption of the rational mind. We have been trying to fit into a masculine structure and find ourselves there. But we as women, we need very different things than men. It is biological. It is in our brain chemistry, our hormones, our wiring. Not being supported in this way, we have lost an important connection to our inner compass. To really know ourselves, all of ourselves, and our dynamic feminine power, we need to consciously reconnect to our bodies, to settle into this fleshy matter and all the mystery it holds within its beautiful curves. This task may not be easy, as we hold a lot of shame and wounding around the wild feminine. The years of trying to shape ourselves to fit into a man's world, stifling our feelings and fullness, numbing ourselves to create distance from our true emotions and the wonderful expanse that we hold. Through our own self-sacrifice and hiding, many of us don't even know ourselves. This has created a lot of depression, hopelessness, and anxiety. I know I have not been alone in this. It's time that we create a new system in which we thrive, one that encourages feminine flow, feeling, senses, emotional intelligence, and intuition, a womb wisdom based on natural cycles, cooperation, connection, co-creativity, authenticity, vulnerability, truth, heart, and meaning. Yes, Ariel, ready to set fire to the patriarchy. That's right. Every breath, every choice we make. Womb wisdom and feminine power. A big part of my healing into wholeness with my deep feminine came through tuning into my body's menstrual cycle rhythms as a path to female power. As I got to know myself more as a fierce feeler, I noticed that I experienced huge swings in my monthly cycle, from feeling like Superwoman during ovulation to feeling like I wanted to disappear, curl up, and cry during my pre-bleed week. This is a dynamic rhythm, one that was truly me in all my phases. And it happened every month. Learning this information about myself and how to care for myself in a way that was in tune with my womb allowed me to be the truly wild, feminine, feeling woman that I am. Through this, I welcomed myself home to my body as a woman and all the potency that I hold. I knew that I had discovered something powerful. I gave myself permission to feel everything and learned how to care for myself in these varied emotional and mental states. I stopped trying to fight it. I stopped trying to hide it. I saw the value in my cycle and learned to value all of myself. The action and the rest, the outward expression and the deep internal quiet, the sensitive and the bold. Through this, I felt a growing sense of self-love and belonging to something much greater, a connection to the wild dance of the cosmos in all of its cycles and rhythms. I was fascinated and began a journey that has brought me here. I researched female hormones, biology, and brain science. I talked to and interviewed women about their cycles and how they lived with them in their lives. I consciously aligned my life with my cycle rhythms and started empowering, educating, and mentoring women to do the same. Our cycles are our superpowers. Our monthly cycles are a very real and raw aspect of being in a female body. They are a monthly journey, beautiful, uncomfortable, fiercely powerful, and insightful. We are taken through the dark and the light parts of ourselves monthly. They connect us to nature, the seasons, phases of the moon, and our varied inner landscapes. We will experience between 300 to 500 menstrual cycles in our lifetime. And no one talks about this. Why isn't this a part of our education as women? And why aren't men also educated so they know how to best support us in these weekly shifts? Our menses is a shameful secret because it's a true aspect of our superpowers as women. I'm not just talking about the days we bleed or the days before we bleed, known as premenstrual syndrome. Syndrome, like there's something inherently and innately bad about this time of the month. I'm talking about the whole month of shifting hormones, neurotransmitters, moods, urges, energy levels, thoughts, and feelings. As cycling women, we are not static, maybe not even stable at times, because we are being constantly moved by the delicate dance of our hormonal flux. And that is one of the many beautiful things about being a woman. When we allow ourselves to truly feel these rhythms, the pain, the anger, the insight, the stillness, the fire and sexual drive, creativity and depth, we experience an incredible gift that is divinely feminine. We experience ourselves rather than hiding, distracting, trying in every way to be a straight line. We can embrace the curves of our dynamic beauty. Aligning with your rhythm. Our cycles are a powerful navigational system. Each week of the month has a precious gift to offer us. Living in sync with our cycles is a powerful tool to rock your life with a rhythm. It certainly has enhanced my life. I know and follow the flow of my own rhythm, taking care of the way that I feel. I now rarely plan a date, social time, vacation, or biz launch around the time of my bleed, because that is the time my body calls me to rest, be quiet, go deep. That is the time for my womb cocoon. I want solitude and simplicity. I know to make big strides in my business and life, revel in my sexuality, and lavish in outward pleasures when I am ovulating, because that is the time I feel most radiant and am supported by my hormones and neurotransmitters to shine. I'm not forcing myself to try to feel anything else than what I am. And that I have found forgiveness, belonging, self-love. I have found home. I know for many of us, the idea of loving our cycles feels like a huge stretch. But that is because we have been taught to despise our cycles. There is another way. It begins with gentle inquiry into our bodies, our senses, and their rhythms. A willingness to feel ourselves, rest there, and value the wisdom of the deep. The reflective, intuitive, insightful, visionary, and still aspects of who we are. This is a big part of our magic as women. Power that has been lost in a culture that overemphasizes work and accomplishment. It is in the stillness that we find our wisdom, in the deep of our wombs. So how can we learn to embrace our cycles? The first step is listening to ourselves, bringing awareness to our bodies and how they feel, tuning into what brings us pleasure and when. Then designing our lives the best we can around this wisdom. This intentional life mapping allows us the space to feel all that we are doing. It is a way we can learn about ourselves and give ourselves permission to fully experience life, which is truly what brings us alive. I'm going to end with a quote. "You were wild once. Don't let them tame you." By the dancer Isadora Duncan. And that is my chapter from this book. I'm still on such a journey of self-embracing, allowing, trusting, aligning. Thank you, Patty. Dear Patty, you are with me, co-working on so much of this around this time. Thank you. Yeah. And you know, it's such a journey to the deep acceptance of who we are as women. and really working with, the wounds and the initiation, the monthly of an initiation of moving into these deeper parts of ourselves and learning to work with our own self-healing and hold the space for our shadows and get to know them, as well as, really allowing the depth of our witchiness, our visionary, our medicine woman to step forward, which comes along with, confronting so much of the witch wounds that I feel like a lot of us carry, the fear. Sometimes our cycles shift, flip, and take us off guard. How do you respond to this change in your body when you don't expect such a change? Yes, Patty. As I was reading, what I wrote and everything that I had kind of studied up until the point of time where this was written, it was a totally different time age wise in our lives, right, Patty? So you, I think, are maybe 52, I'm 50. And so, really, Patty, noticing how much it's changing, right, in this later perimenopausal time, and how much it's not like, okay, week one, here's this, and week two, here's this. It's like that rhythm, that map that you and I think both became very connected with is just gone out the window, basically. So now, having worked so deeply with the cycle for so long, there is an understanding of how it is that I feel during, what we related to as each week. But now that can change from day to day. I don't feel like it's on a week to week. Hormones in perimenopause are just like boing, 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 boing. It's entirely different. So I am currently um, working on developing and becoming intimate with my own map within creation of my own kind of map, even though there's no real map. It's more a map of the emotional inner state or the mental inner state. Um, and becoming much more intimate with that part as being the leader, other than relying on the structure of the weeks that we have been. Does that make sense, Patsy? Let me know. It's very new. So how I'm relating to it now is there's 4 archetypes of the perimenopausal woman. And these archetypes, which used to be relatable on a week by week basis, now are popping in and out day by day. But the deeper we know these archetypes within ourselves and how to work with them, then we just need to be more in this kind of jiu-jitsu, like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this right now. It's not because I'm in week 2 that I'm feeling this. This is just what's happening right now. So who am I in this time? How can I give myself the nourishment that I need for this 10 minutes or however long that lasts, right? It's an entirely different experience right now, Patsy, and I'd love to talk to you about it. Um, and I'm working on, I think I'm going to make a new program around it because it feels really important. So that's exciting. So yeah, everything that I built this work around for so long, in my own internal landscapes is now shifting because of perimenopause. So it was very interesting to read this and to teach now still on the cycle of just the regular cycle that's not being moved by the seas of perimenopause. Also, Patsy, when your mom went through menopause, like when your mom actually stopped bleeding, is generally the time that you will. So it might be interesting to ask her about that and kind of, you know, see. We can be in perimenopause for like up to a decade. It's wild. So it's this whole other path of learning how to care for ourselves. Yeah, responding to the experience and the emotions within, and you're familiar with those. So now you get to tend them more on the fly. It's very powerful. And another big, huge initiation that we go through as women that is not talked about, right? This menopausal shift. Ariel, I recently listened to my body again and quit a very stable, nice paying corporate job to embark on my continued healing path. You've helped carry me through. Oh, Ariel, so much support and love for you. Such a courageous step to really like lay down that what the structure that is reliable and all the things, accolades in so many different ways, but is not supporting you and your body and your healing. And that is such a beautiful and courageous step into your becoming, your power, your deepening into what you're really here to do and who you're really here to be, which involves these layers of healing and coming home and letting go in the body. Thank you for sharing that. Well, do either of you have any more questions or comments? I will be sharing more about um, the different ways that I'm going to begin to work with the cycle. Um, I've got programs and pre-recorded programs and things like that, but I'm moving into some new places with it, which I'm really excited about, and also more around the perimenopausal pieces. So I'll be sharing more about that. It felt so liberating and freeing, tuning inward. Yes. It is so liberating, right? It's something that we've been not supported to do for a long time. And it's really in these inner realms that our wisdom as women resides, in our bodies, in our visions, in the wisdom of the insides of our womb space, of our intuition. And the more that we can take the experience of diving into those things and healing the things that keep us separate from our body, from our womb, from trusting ourselves, from feeling worthy. It is in a revolutionary act, really, that on the large scale is going to save our planet. The more that, well, I don't know, save our planet is a weird way to say it. Our planet's going to be here no matter what. But, moving into more of this deeper feminine, sustainable, collaborative, co-creative movement of the rising feminine. It's time. Do you plan to read through your entire book? No. So this area I mentioned at the beginning, it's a co-authored book. So that was my chapter. So there are like all these different women, 12 to 15 different women that, there we go, that submitted chapters for this co-written book. Someday I'll write a book all to myself, but this was a chapter, and the book is called Her Unraveling, a guide to understanding the power of your emotions and how to align with your intuition. And it's many different stories of women and their journeys of this. Yeah, and I have copies. I actually have a few copies. So if you're interested in the book, let me know, and I'd be happy to send you a copy at a a discounted price, at a price which not of the store. It's a really beautiful book. Um, yeah, every woman's story is so powerful, and when we share our stories, there's this just sense of being known and held. So thank you again, those that are watching live. Thank you, Patty, for being here so much. Thank you, Ariel, for being here. And those that are watching the replay, again, feel free to comment, ask questions, and I will come back and pay attention. And I hope all of you, beautiful women, turn in, turn on, trust your body. I'm here to support your healing in any way that I can. And yeah, love to you.